will bow down and hail you as King. I will serve you, give you everything. I will lift up my eyes to your throne. I will trust you alone. I will give you all my worship. I will give you all my praise. You alone I long to worship. You alone are worthy of my praise. Wonderful. One thing I love about Christian music is that it's all positive. Everything you sing lifts the heart. Compassion, love that's never failing. Let mercy fall on me. Everyone needs forgiveness, the kindness of the Savior, the hope of nations. Savior, He can move the mountains. My God is mighty to save. He is mighty to save forever. Author of salvation. He rose and conquered the grave. Jesus conquered the grave. So take me as you find me. All my fears and failures. This is the air I breathe. This is the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me. This is my daily bread. This is my daily bread. Your very word spoken to me, and I'm desperate for you, and I'm lost without you. This is the air I breathe. This is the air I breathe. This is the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me. Daily bread. This is my daily bread. This is my daily bread. Your very word spoken to me, and I'm desperate for you, and I'm lost without you. I'm lost without you. I'm lost without you.
Morning. Can you hear us? Well, this morning I had a special feature, and with Hannah home, I thought it would be a good time to share our mission trip that we took during spring break back in March, because the church was so kind to help support Hannah and Austin, and we wanted to share some pictures with you of our experience there. So in March of 2010, we made a trip down to Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, and yes, they are still rebuilding after Katrina. It's been 5 years, if you can believe that. It's been 5 years, and there still needs to be a lot of work down there. So anyway, 33 students and adults from Sunnydale made the trip. And we went to a camp called Helping Hands and Helping Feet Ministries, and there were about 12 members of that ministry, so there were about 50 total for us for the week that we were down there.
So we started off at 4 o'clock in the morning. We loaded the buses at Sunnydale. And then at around 7, we stopped here for breakfast, and we met up with my parents, and they joined us. And then it was time for our 14-long-hour bus ride.
We arrived at camp, and when we got there, we were expecting to move into this big, huge tent where one side was for the girls and then the other side was for the guys. But once we got there, they had been told the night before that they were not allowed to they were told from the city that they weren't allowed to have anybody stay in that tent. And so they had a house on the property, and they moved the bunks into the house. This was a 3-bedroom house, and remember, we had 33 people to stay from Sunnydale. And so the girls stayed in 3 different bedrooms, and the guys stayed in the living room, the kitchen, and then a kind of like a sunroom off of the kitchen. This was the guys' area. And this was where the girls stayed. Hannah can stay.
Well, this was our room. There was 7 girls in this room with 2 bunk beds. 3 slept on the bottom and 4 slept on top, and it was tight.
It was kind of tight quarters, but it was a lot of fun.
It
was a lot of fun. Okay. Part of my duty was to work in the cafeteria. We planned 3 meals. We had planned on feeding about 50 people, so it was 50 meals 3 times a day. And my help was Kim Kelly, which some of you probably know from Sunnydale, and Raylene Isley. Her husband is the maintenance guy at Sunnydale, so you may know her. And so we had the opportunity to use this van, and we had 3 women and Mrs. Kelly's son, who's in grade school. I call it the Eagle's Nest. We had to call it something, but we had a lot of fun in this van. It was a 2-seater van, and we filled the back up with groceries. So it was a lot of fun. And here we are feeding the kids after a hard day of work. And the favorite part for the kids, Erica, who has her tongue sticking out, she was actually our kitchen help for that day, her and a couple of other kids. But when the others were done working, they always knew that we were going to be making dessert, and so they would always, that was the favorite part for kitchen help, was to make desserts. And so Hannah and Candace decided they would come in and help us frost the cakes that day.
Every morning and every night we would have a little worship. We'd sing some songs, and then in the mornings a guy named Todd would have a devotional, and then in the evenings my dad would do a devotional.
And we would have, this was in the cafeteria, and they would have the devotionals in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
There's Daniel. Some of you will know him.
Go back to that one picture.
This one?
Yeah, and as you can see in this picture, only half of the cafeteria was finished, and so while we were there, a lot of us were able to help them and finish the building. So the first 2 days that I was there, I got to help my dad with plumbing around there at the camp. Yeah. And then we went to these houses, and the houses after the hurricane, any new house had to be built up on stilts.
The houses have to be 15 feet above sea level. So if the land is not 15 feet above sea level, then they have to put the house on stilts high enough to make it above sea level. And in doing that, there was a hole left under the house, and water would get in there, and then mosquitoes would breed. And so what they did was they were filling in the holes that were left under this house. They were filling all of that in.
So we would shovel into wheelbarrows, and then we'd carry it under the house, and then people were under the house, and we would smooth it out. And
this was hard work for those kids. They did this all day. Yeah. They did 2 houses of that where they were under the houses.
And then this house, there was like this older guy, and like he was really sick, and his house was still damaged from the Katrina hurricane. And so he had this little shed, which is this building that we're painting, and it had like this little area where like there's a bathroom and like a fireplace area. So since he couldn't like go anywhere to like fix up his house, we decided to fix up his shed for him so he could go live in there while his house gets fixed up. And then that's the finished part of the shed.
So he moved in there, and then another group was going to come in and help fix the actual house that he had. This is the cafeteria, and so through the whole week they finished sheetrocking, and they mud and taped and all that while we were there in the cafeteria. And the plan for this cafeteria is when they are done, when the Helping Hands and Helping Feet ministry is done using this property, what they will do is they will turn this into living quarters. They just have to put up a couple more walls, and then it will be living quarters for somebody. And this was Austin. He helped do quite a bit of the work in there. There was another group that went to the church that was close by, to the Adventist church there in Bay St. Louis, and they worked on the bathrooms. They were sheetrocking and putting up things for the bathrooms. Whoops. And then there was another group there. The girls' bathroom was done, and so there was another group, which Hannah was with that group one day, that painted the girls' bathroom for the church. So they got quite a bit of work done at the church there. They also did some installation work. Austin then also went, I think he was there 2 days, where they built a deck on the back of one of the firefighters' houses, and he was ill and wasn't able to have this work done, and so this group went and built the deck for him. More power tools. One of the evenings, so that the kids, we see the pictures on TV, and then it goes away. And so to help just refresh, the kids and the adults that were there to help, to refresh how devastating the area was, there was a lady that came in and she gave a demonstration or presentation on the Bay St. Louis area. And this was one of her slides. And this is Bay St. Louis before the hurricane. And this was after Katrina. Now, if you can see the buildings here in the green area, I don't have the laser, but in the green area, all of those buildings, they are gone, totally gone. Now it's just beach right there. They've never been rebuilt. My dad does disaster insurance adjusting, and when I told him where we were going, he said that he was all over this area, and he said this was one of the most devastated areas because there's a canal that runs through the city, and so the water actually went 10 miles into the city and then back out. And so it just left devastation as it went in and came back out.
So one day after we got done working, they all decided to let us go to the beach. And it was a little too cold to actually go swimming, but we just played in the water a little bit and dug in the sand. And then some of the guys got out their guitars, and then we just kind of sang some songs on the beach and stuff. And we also ate supper out there.
We, this Sunnydale group did the church service that day. And so they let out in, where are we at there? Okay. They let out in the Sabbath school. They also let out in the praise songs. Some mega bookers gave a presentation on some of their experience as mega bookers. Austin was one of the presenters that presented on mission trips, and he talked about when he went to India. And then Rob preached the sermon that day. And then after church, on Sabbath, we went back to the beach.
Yeah, and the moms ordered us pizza, so like we get pizza out there. And then this kid, Adam Wienhoff, he had like this box of Cheez-Its, and so he decided to like hold up like Cheez-Its, and all these birds, like all these seagulls came like swarming us, and like everyone was like feeding them and stuff. And that's me and my friend Tanya. And then we had Vespers out on the beach. We built this big campfire, and then my dad did like a little sermon, and we just sang some songs. And that was our last night there.
And then the long bus ride back home. But anyway, we just, we really had a good time, and we just thought that any opportunity you get to go and help somebody, whether it's here in the United States or overseas, take that opportunity if the Lord opens the door for you. If you look at Matthew 25:34 through 40, it says, "Then the king will say to those on his right hand, 'Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me.' Then the righteous will answer him, saying, 'Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? When did we see you a stranger and take you in, or naked and clothe you? Or when did we see you sick or in prison and come to you?' And the king will answer and say to them, 'Surely I say to you, inasmuch as you did it to one of the least of these, my brethren, you did it to me.'"
So I just want to thank everyone in the church, and thank you for supporting me and Austin so like we could go on this mission trip. And it was a really amazing experience, and hopefully I can go on another mission trip soon.
And we have a special music at this time.
Can you hear the guitar all right? Can you hear that? Not so well. All right, let me use a different mic. Sorry.
I hear the Savior say, "Thy strength indeed is small. Child of weakness, watch and pray. Find in me thine all in all." Jesus paid it all to him I washed it white as snow. And when before the throne I stand in him complete, I lay my trophies down, all down at Jesus' feet. 'Cause Jesus